Hey guys, I am finally going to teach you how to make this beautiful premium rose shadow box that is seen on my TikTok. If you don't know yet, this video got I think about 12 million views in total. So today I'm going to teach you how to make it and everything that you need. So of course the first thing that you will need is a frame to work with. Here I have a 20 by 20 shadow box frame. You can get yours from eBay or Amazon. I typically get mine from Amazon because I'm an Amazon Prime member. And this is a customer's order, so they chose black, so that's what I'll be working with today. So once you get your frame and you're ready to go, you basically just want to flip it around and take off the back piece. And you see this little border thing that I'm holding right now. A lot of these boxes have that. So what you want to do is actually take that out and use that as a guidance where you want to put your flowers. And with the glass piece at the back, so with some frames you can actually get a plastic piece, but I typically use glass because I think it looks a lot more elegant and it's worth the money. We're not going to use that glass piece just yet, so you do want to put it aside in a safe place until we do. Okay, I'm going to quickly show you what I'm doing on the Cricut side of things. Once I'm happy with how many I have, and I can only fit 6 on my piece of paper, so I go ahead and press make it. It will bring me to this page over here, and from that page you just want to press continue. I go on to medium cardstock because that's the paper that I use, 216 GSM. The pressure, I just leave it as it is. So I'm going to go ahead now and start loading my cardstock onto my light grip mat. I'm using a brand called Nakapa. It does the exact same thing as the Cricut brand, if not better. It's just a lot cheaper and it comes in bundle packs, and for me that's ideal because I go through mats so often. I think I get a new mat maybe every month, so this is definitely better value for money. I'm also using this Cricut rolling tool. I don't know the exact name, but again I'll list it down below in the description. Honestly, it was such a great purchase and I strongly recommend it. So once you've got the mat ready, your Cricut will be indicating it's ready for you to load your mat into the Cricut machine. So you go ahead and just gently place it into your machine and then press that button that is flashing on the screen right now with the double arrow sign. Once it goes in, your Cricut will start scanning for where it needs to be placed, and then you go ahead and press the Cricut symbol and it will start cutting out your templates. This usually takes about 5 minutes to do, but things that might alter how long it takes to cut a template can include how complex your design is, the weight of the paper, and how many templates you're actually cutting out. So I've got my gloves and I'm ready to go. I've actually had an incident where I've burnt my hand because we're dealing with hot glue gun, and it was horrendous and I've now got a scar from it. So always make sure you wear gloves just to have that extra layer of protection. Now that we've got our Cricut mat ready and the templates cut out, we can go ahead and just peel off the design. So you just want to bend the mat ever so slightly and the template will just kind of peel by itself, and then you want to grab one end and just gently remove it, and you want to continue this process for all 6. So I now reload my mat, put it back into the Cricut machine, and while that's cutting, I will begin to create my flowers to make it look like this. So on to making the flower. You want to get your thin tweezers and place it towards the end of the template and just gently begin rolling inwards towards the center. So you want to continue doing this, rolling towards the center until you begin to lose control, and at that point you want to gently remove the tweezers and do the remainder of the template by hand. So at this point I just take a quick glance of how it looks at the front, and if you're happy with how it looks then you can go ahead and just glue it down, but for me I don't like it so tightly coiled, so I just fiddle about with it and make it a little bit looser. And once I'm happy with how it looks, I go ahead and dabble a little bit of hot glue in the center and then just close that additional flap at the bottom. So as you can see, the whole process is very time consuming. So for when I do get an order, I like to have some flowers pre-made when I have some spare time. So I've made all of these beforehand and I'm going to go ahead and select the colors that I want and then use them on the frame. So once your flowers are ready, you're good to go and you can start beginning to stick your flowers down onto your frame. So you want to start on one corner and work your way to the other, or if you're going to do kind of like a dip dye effect, you can start from the top row, work your way down to the bottom row. If you find this tutorial very helpful and you end up creating your own shadow box, please tag me in any work you create at We Are Family Shop on Instagram. Please try and also put your own spin to it. As much as I like helping others, I think it's really good to put your own creativity and make a piece of work your own. So once you finish with the back piece, we can go ahead and design the front quote of the frame. So the customer has asked for "Happy birthday, I love you, Vivi," and I decided to go for this quirky 2-font style. You can do anything that you like, but I just really love the way that this looks, especially with the heart at the end of the name. So then you just follow the same procedures as you did with cutting out the flower templates. You click make it and you select the material type, which is going to be vinyl, and then follow the same steps by loading your Cricut mat with the vinyl, placing it into the Cricut machine, waiting for it to cut, and so forth. The only tip that I have at this stage is just to make sure your quote is sized correctly. For example, I'm working with a 20 by 20 frame, therefore I need to ensure that my quote is not sized any bigger than that. After your Cricut has done a wonderful job of cutting out your design, you want to go ahead and weed it, which basically means start peeling off the vinyl and keep what you need and get rid of what you don't need. Okay, it starts to get a little bit fiddly here, so you want to get your transfer tape and carefully center it in the middle and then work your way outwards to flatten it onto your quote. Then you want to get your scraping tool and just make sure you press really hard and scrape your quote onto the transfer tape. You then should be able to peel back as so, and it should come out very smoothly onto your transfer tape. Okay, I promise you're nearly at the end now. So where you have your quote on the transfer tape, you want to very carefully place it onto the glass. This can be very tricky, so please work carefully and slowly. I think patience is key throughout this whole process. Once your transfer tape, including the quote, is placed onto the frame, you then want to go ahead with that scraping tool and once more go over it, this time to make sure the quote sticks onto the frame. Okay, you're at the final stage. Basically, at this part, you want to grab your transfer tape and slowly start peeling it back. Now, the key thing here is just to have a lot of patience and be very slow about it, because the last thing you want to do is tear any of the vinyl off. And there you have it, the final piece. I was beyond happy with how this turned out. I think it is the best piece I have made yet. And I'm absolutely in love with it. You can really see how much time went into it and the effort and just how intricate the whole entirety of the frame is. I do want to add quickly that in my previous video I mentioned that I put the quote on the inside of the glass rather than the outside. However, since making that video I've changed my routine, because when you put the quote on the inside of the glass you're more prone to air bubbles. It's basically inevitable, and also the color looks more grayish, so I just prefer the way it looks having the vinyl on the outside. In terms of cleaning, you clean it with the same product. You use glass cleaner and you just wipe it down with a cloth. You just got to be a little gentle, but you can clean it very easily and the vinyl will not move. And this is how it looks like in natural daylight. Absolutely overwhelmed with it. Thank you so much for watching.